All of us are fans. I think the great thing is as well, like all of the wrestlers today are fans. Like I know there's the old thing of kind of being a mark and not kind of showing you're too much of a fan, but I think all of the guys who are like in the locker room these days grew up as huge fans in the 80s or 90s. We all fell in love with this thing.
Yeah, and I feel like we have that in common as well. And like the thing that I love the most about what I get to do with these interviews is like I want to learn about like some of their biggest moments or biggest matches, but I also want to figure out like where did you come from to get where you're at? Like so often social media just shows us the final product and they don't show us like all of the stumbles along the way to get there. And that's what I want to figure out. Like you're the world champion. We see you at WrestleMania holding up the title, but like what happens when it didn't work a handful of years ago? Or what happened when someone told you you'd never make it? And how did you get past that? That's the stuff I'm fascinated by because we can all learn from that. Maybe you don't have a lot in common or you don't think you have a lot in common with the world champion or someone who's doing amazing things. But when you start to break down your story and you start to put little bits of who you are into their story, you start to realize, oh yeah, there's a lot of their story that speaks to me. And there's a lot of their struggles that maybe I'm going through right now. And that's what I love about it.
Well, thank you, Chris, for giving me the perfect lead into this question because one of those guys that you have really journeyed along from the Indies to AEW to the last time you haven't on being WWE champion is, of course, Cody Rhodes. And that's someone that you've now interviewed, what, five times, six times? Lost count of how many times you've had Cody on.
Yeah, I think that's how many. Yeah.
But you've seen him through this real, taking a gamble on himself, completely walking away from everything because it felt right in his heart. And obviously, that gamble and self belief has paid off a hundredfold. What's it been like to kind of follow that journey? Because obviously, as a fan watching him, it's been incredible. But what's it been like as someone who's managed to speak with him a number of times along those different paths he's taken?
My first interview with Cody was in 2011. You can go way back. It's one of the first interviews ever uploaded to my channel. He's still wearing the face protector as dashing Cody
I
Rhodes.
loved that. That's such a great gimmick.
It was so great. It was a really quick interview at WrestleMania Access, WrestleMania 27 Access. From then till now, he's been the same guy. And that's what's so amazing about Cody is he's incredibly authentic. And everything that he has in his life and his career, he has earned. And Cody's just always been so kind to me. So from there, I also interviewed him when he was the Ring of Honor champion. I think that was 2017. I interviewed him like a few days before the very first AEW show, Double or Nothing, in May 2019. Like, really, like, kind of pivotal points of his career. I also interviewed him as his documentary was coming out. And then I interviewed him just this past summer when he'd been the champion for like a few months. I interviewed him Money in the Bank weekend in Toronto. And he's just always been Cody the entire time. And I also did some things when AEW was first starting. I did some things with AEW and he was like my point of contact, which was interesting. Like it was him who reached out to me like, can you be in Atlanta on Monday to record some things? And at that time I had a TV job and I'm like, I can't say no to Cody, but yeah, sure, I'll be there and I'll figure out like maybe I'll call in to work sick or something like that. Cody's always been great and he's always had a vision for what he wants in his life. And I give him all the credit for stepping away from something that I guess looked like it might have been working. And I'm talking about both WWE and AEW. Like on the surface, everything looked great, but clearly he wasn't happy with whatever was going on there. And we're never going to know the full story, certainly with AEW, but for Cody to bet on himself more than once and to be able to have the faith that he's going to be able to make it work, that is a commendable trait in anybody.
And it seems like he seems like a character that's done similar things for a lot of people. Like when I've his name's cropped up quite a few times when I've spoken to Mike Chioda, who talked about obviously after he was let go from WWE, Cody calling him up and saying you need to ref these matches in AEW. Seems like he's brought a lot of people along on that journey, whilst not, as you say, not really changing all the time as he's got more successful. I mean, I feel of all the WrestleManias I could have been at live, I feel so blessed I got to be there for the main event of WrestleMania 40 and for that moment because that was just such a magical match that really did take me back to being a kid again. That's just incredible.
Yeah, WrestleMania 40 is an all-timer. And I know that there's this real struggle as a wrestling fan between like nostalgia and recency bias. Like they're two like huge things like combating each other. But I think that when we do have some time for this to breathe a little bit, 10, 15, 20 years from now, we're going to look back at that main event of WrestleMania 40 as one of the best main events of all time. Now, I'm not saying, don't get too excited here, people. I'm not saying it's the greatest. I'm saying it's going to go down as one of the greatest for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, I felt it already being in the arena. I felt like I was watching one of the best of all time in that moment. It's just, I mean, it was just magical.